with another interest rate hike. The Fed is expected to announce its decision today. Mark Zandi is chief economist at Moody's Analytics.
We're trying to thread the needle here, balance things, trying to do enough to help support the banking system and financial system, get that on solid ground, but at the same time continue to fight inflation.
The Fed is expected to increase rates by another 0.25 percentage point. The indictment watch still on. Correspondent Robert Costa is in New York covering the investigation into Donald Trump and whether he'll be charged with falsifying business records connected to hush money payments.
Former President Trump remains in Florida, huddled with his lawyers and his advisors in a Trump campaign. Tuesday, he claimed that he could be arrested at any moment.
New York police are bracing for protesters who could disrupt traffic in the streets and tunnels. In California, they're bracing for new flooding after a deadly bomb cyclone slammed into the Bay Area.
The windows on our 28th floor of the building that we work at were literally shaking.
A driver was killed when a tree fell on his van. More than 130 customers have no power. A 3-day water conference kicks off at the UN today. Correspondent Cammie McCormick reports.
It's a problem that's growing worse.
10% of the global population currently lives in areas that are high or critical water stress.
The UN's Richard Connor says many don't have access to safe drinking water or even basic sanitation. The report shows as cities continue to grow, governments must do more to invest in ways to secure clean water.
The French president has just addressed changes to the retirement pushing through.
Even as the labor unions call for the pension reforms to be scrapped, France's president says they will go ahead. In a televised interview, President Macron said the reforms that will see the retirement age raised from 62 to 64 will start to roll out in September as planned. Despite the protests, he also said he backs his Prime Minister, Elizabeth Borne, who forced the bill through the National Assembly without a vote. Elaine Cobb, CBS News, Paris.
California police say Dick Van Dyke suffered mild injuries when he crashed his Lexus into a gate in Malibu. Witnesses tell People the 97-year-old actor was bleeding from his nose and mouth. They've been dealing with record rains and flooding in Southern California. No word on whether the weather played a part in the accident. Dow futures are up 15. This is CBS News.
Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. Score cash every day with March Money Madness. The excitement starts on March 14th and continues through April 3rd. Each day from 5 to 7 p.m., $1,000 premium play. So be there for all the madness. March Money Madness. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway. Reimagine. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues.
Appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Detroit area attorneys. Offices in Troy and Ann Arbor. CordellCordell.com.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
I gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With us 40 days of consistency. Safe right on your bed. You know my car's my happy place. Keep a smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
I saw the sign, it opened up my eyes. I saw the
dazzling decal on Daisy's Donuts window.
I saw the
bold banner at Barry's Barbershop.
I saw the
prominent poster at Penny's on Park Place.
This is your sign. Well, signs. To try Staples and see the difference. Get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more.
From Staples, if I could.
Visit staplesconnect.com/printbig for details.
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
Cloudy skies and 40 degrees at 9:05. Good morning. I'm Mike Percha. A man accused of raping a woman he met on the dating app Tinder has been charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct and other charges. 33-year-old Clarence Hatchett was arraigned Tuesday after he was arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting a woman at gunpoint. Saginaw police were called to a local hospital where they found a 22-year-old Saginaw woman who said she had been assaulted by Hatchett at his residence. They went to the home in the 1100 block of Morris Street to find two other adults and a child, Hatchett hiding in the attic. He was arrested and charged with multiple felonies, and he's currently held in the Saginaw County Jail on a $700,000 bond. Now, a summer road closure for one Bay City business district has been vetoed. WSGW's Jonathan Dent has this story.
Mayor Kathleen Newsham vetoed a resolution that would have allowed for the closure of a stretch of Saginaw Street between Memorial Day and Labor Day for this year's Feet on the Street event. The area, along with the business districts on Center, 3rd, and Midland Streets, are restricted to weekend closures only this year. Newsham says that she's working with state agencies on a plan that allows for full summer closures of Saginaw Center and 3rd Streets during Monday. City commissioners, including Commissioner Christopher Gerard, voted to overturn the veto, citing concerns that another solution may not be reached in time. The commission voted to uphold the veto, and Newsham says that information about a new plan will be put forward at the April 3rd meeting. Jonathan Dent, News Radio 100.5 and 790.
WSGW News Time 9:07.
With the Wholesale Formula Seminar, discover how to start your own Amazon business.
My name is Jeremiah Holbrook. I've spent dollars on Amazon thanks to what I learned from the Wholesale Formula.
Hey, Emric Manello. 2 years after attending the Wholesale Formula seminar, I was able to sell my Amazon business for over $400,000.
Hi, I'm Amy Sherlock. I attended the Wholesale Formula seminar to learn how to work from home while raising my son. Today, I do $175,000 in sales per month.
Hi, I'm Hillary. Before attending the Wholesale Formula seminar, I was a school teacher. Today, I work from Amazon.
Whether you have a business and want to sell more on Amazon, retired, or just need extra money, America's Amazon expert Dylan Frost will show you how for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. That's right. Discover the easy way to make money on Amazon with Dylan Frost's The Wholesale Formula 2-hour seminar Tuesday, March 28th at 2 p.m. For the greater Saginaw area, register at thewholesaleformula.com.
WSGW News Time 9:08. The weather forecast is next. Police in Dearborn have made an arrest in connection with a January bank robbery. Authorities say on January 18th, a Dearborn Federal Credit Union, 30-year-old Kevin Rodriguez allegedly told the teller he had a bomb and threatened to ignite it. Police say after the teller handed over an undisclosed amount of cash, Rodriguez fled in a silver 4-door Chevy Cobalt. He was arrested on Monday.
I was listening to him. He sounded like he just got through.
Ferrari has been hit by a cyber attack. Autobeat reporter Jeff Gilbert explains in this report.
The attack targeted Ferrari customers. Some of those customers were informed that some of their data was exposed. No word on specifics. Ferrari working with law enforcement authorities and also with efforts to strengthen their data protection. The Israeli cybersecurity firm Upstream, which has offices in Ann Arbor, says there were 268 publicly reported cyber attacks on car makers last year alone. Jeff Gilbert, the Michigan News Network.
Letter grades in Michigan schools may become a thing of the past. The state house voted to repeal a measure that gave public schools a school. Warning residents to be on the lookout for a call from the state police informing you of an investigation. Police say that con artists will say if you want to stay out of jail, you need to send them money. The trick is that the phone number looks like it's coming from an official source. However, the scammer is actually spoofing. Lieutenant Derek Carroll with the state police says they will never ask for money over the phone or to be sent in the form of a third-party money transfer service. If you get the call, hang up and notify the state police. WSGW News Time 9:10. I'm Mike
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. Cloudy for today, rain in the area. Highs top out near 49 degrees. Winds south-southeasterly 5 to 15 miles per hour. Higher gusts possible. Tonight it remains cloudy, rain likely, but mainly well after midnight. Temperatures hold steady. Winds south 5 to 10. Thursday, rain gradually ends early, otherwise still cloudy. Temperatures continue to hold steady in the region. Winds turn to the north 5 to 15. And then Thursday night, mostly cloudy and lows drop to 29. This is meteorologist Phil Jensko with the WSGW weatherology forecast. Right now it's 42.
Now, radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions from around your block to around the world. The Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com. The Art Lewis Show is presented by Westside Decorating Center.
Yes, indeed. Westside Decorating Center at 5789 State Street in Saginaw, with their newly expanded showroom and new product lines, too, including countertops. They have quartz, granite for you. Everything you need to decorate your home at Westside Decorating Center. Later on, open phones, and we'll look at Rocket Grab Plus on Focus at 11 o'clock today. But we're going to start out talking about robotics and STEM education. We have a number of guests this morning to chat with, so we will get to it this morning. We first of all welcome the superintendent of the Essexville-Hampton school system, and we say good morning to Justin Ralston. Justin, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Oh, thanks for being with us this morning. Also with us this morning, a couple of other individuals, and we'll find out their roles in all of this. We start with Brian Campbell. Brian, good morning.
Good morning.
And what is your role in the STEM education and robotics?
I am the principal at Garber High School.
All right, and we'll find out what they're doing at Garber in just a moment. But also with us this morning are a couple of what look like students to me. So introduce yourselves. Emma?
Okay, I'm Emma. I'm a senior, and I'm our lead media and lead for our impact team.
And with you is?
I'm Ethan Shannon. I am the lead mentor at Garber High School for the robotics team. I'm also a teacher at Garber High School.
All right. So we've all, in the last number of years, heard STEM, STEM, STEM over and over again. Science, technology, engineering, math. Has, Justin, all of this talk and media attention produced more interest in STEM education?
Sure. I think that it has helped, but I think from my observation, and I should also add that I'm new to the role in Essexville. I'm new to the state of Michigan. And one of the things that I was most impressed by when I first started was just seeing what students were already doing. And I think I want to give a huge shout out to the teachers and the team and the coaches that have been really working with our students in robotics program. But really, it was through their work that I think the word has continued to spread about the powerful impact that STEM education has and how this can be relevant in their careers beyond high school.
So, Brian, in the school building, what have you seen in terms of STEM education?
We have, of course, we have a wonderful robotics team, but I'll let Ethan and Emma talk about the team. Sort of more generally, what we see with STEM education is it's about providing students opportunities to understand the way these things fit together. It impacts course offerings, it impacts career planning, and it's helping them see the way these things that have historically existed within silos, helping them see the connections. When we talk about the connections between science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, there are hundreds and hundreds of well-paying jobs and exciting careers that do that every day. And so giving the kids hands-on, realistic, practical lessons and opportunities to see that interplay and the way those things relate, I think has been very meaningful for our students. And as opposed to them graduating and just going out into the world and learning for the first time that even though they always maybe considered themselves a math kid, the science stuff was really important. We want them to see the importance of all of it, kind of all at the same time.
All right, so Emma and Ethan, let's talk a little bit about the robotics team. How long has it been formed? Let's start with that. And what does the robotics team do?
So we started back in 2014. Every year, our team is tasked with building a robot that competes in a competition with and against other schools. Usually, the first thing people think of when they hear about a robotics competition is it's either battle bots or it's like a science fair where we set something on a table, and it's not really either one of those things. We compete on a floor that's about the size of a basketball court. Each team brings in a robot that's about 5 feet tall. It weighs about 160 pounds. It moves at about 25 miles an hour. They are big, they are tough, they are mean, they are exciting, and they are built to accomplish goals in the game that score points. And we have matches and gameplay just like any other sport would. And at the end of the day, there are winners and losers from the games that we play. And that tournament is organized into a round robin kind of portion at the beginning and then an elimination tournament at the end. And our team has traditionally fared very well in both portions of those competitions over the years.
Emma, what drew you to robotics?
What drew me to robotics was the fact that I didn't know what I wanted to do, and it was an option for me. I joined in the middle of the pandemic, so pretty much everything was, down. But robotics was still going, and the fact that we were still here made me have hope that there is something for me to do.
How did you like it once you got into it?
At first, I didn't do much. I was very quiet and I was very shy. You wouldn't hear me speak at all. So at first, I didn't really think much of it, but it's grown to this thing where I come in here every day, and I think I'm probably the loudest one here. So, yeah.
So, Justin, let's talk a bit about money, because obviously programs like this take money. Do you find school districts are now willing to put more of their budget into these kinds of activities?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I think what we're also trying to do in Essexville is to create this regional STEM center, because we believe that it will be so critical, not only for Essexville-Hampton Public Schools and our community, but also the greater region. I know that the nearest STEM center is almost an hour away from us in Bay County. And so I think we're working very aggressively, and our school board has been incredibly supportive to set aside a launch-up fund to be able to hire an architect, to be able to get some preliminary drawings done, and to identify a space on our property so that we can then work with our local business community and elected leaders to see if we're able to get additional funding to be able to support this initiative that I think is so critical to our students today.
Just out of curiosity, and since you're fairly new in the area, have you sat down with any of the major STEM players like Dow?
Yes, and I think the community has been so incredibly welcoming. I actually just finished at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast. I'm on the board of directors with the Chamber, and folks have been very, very welcoming and opening to being able to have conversations. And so we're excited to sort of see what comes out of this. And again, we just had our preliminary meeting with the architect about 2 weeks ago. And so we're really trying to build up the momentum to get this plan delivered for our students in the region.
Do you have a time frame?
That's a great question. The goal is going to be as soon as possible, but I would hope that within the next 2 years or so, we're going to be able to see this off. So much of it's going to depend on funding, but again, I'm very optimistic, and people have been incredibly excited about the momentum, and I think the momentum all began with what our students are doing right now as they're in the midst of their competition season.
All right, everybody hang on. I've got to take a break, and we will be back as we talk about STEM education, robotics, and a STEM center in the area with our special guests. You know, a 401k can be an important asset for many American retirements. You've made contributions to your 401k every single paycheck for years, even decades. Its tax advantages and portability may enable workers to build sizable and important nest eggs, but its flexibility can also be costly if you aren't aware of potential mistakes. Great Lakes Investment Advisors have a guide that will teach you how to avoid an IRS early distribution penalty and full taxation on rollovers, the little-known weapon you can use, your most mistake-proof option, and more. Request your guide today 989-835-7203, or visit GreatLakesInvestmentAdvisors.com. This commercial shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or advisory services of any state other than Michigan or where otherwise permitted. Topic should be disclosed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Advisory services offered through Great Lakes Investment Advisors, a registered investment advisor in the state of Michigan.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. Favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Hello, lovers of camping. Welcome to the RV Show After Party Sale at General RV. This is where every RV comes with an RV show price. Up to 40% off motorhomes, travel trailers, fifth wheels, and more. Yes, up to 40% off. You get an RV show price. You get an RV show price. Even you. Someday. March 22nd through the 26th only. And only at General RV. In Birch Run off I-75.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Pitching the fly ball left field. This one's deep. It's got a chance. Grand slam for Javi Baez. Wow.
The countdown is on. 8 days until opening day. Your home for the Tigers is WSGW.
All right, we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show on WSGW for this Wednesday morning. We're talking about STEM education, robotics, and the possibility of a STEM center. We're doing that with Justin Ralston. He is the superintendent of the Essexville-Hampton schools. We have Brian Campbell with us. He is the principal of Garber. And Emma and Ethan with us from the robotics program. Emma, a student, and Ethan is the robotics mentor. Brian, let me ask, what got Garber into robotics? Do you know?
Garber, I think it was 2014. We started our robotics team. Mr. Shannon was one of the most important things that got Garber into robotics. Frankly, he's been running the program since. I think in the very beginning we saw it as an opportunity and we entered blindly into it because I don't think anybody really knows what they're getting themselves into with this, at least not in the beginning. What the program can become, and that's just sort of the nature of it because it grows every year. And one of the greatest things that we've done with our robotics program, and credit to our fantastic students and our coaches and mentors, is that the program has identified opportunities to do great things outside of building robots and in positively impacting the community. It has a very clear career focus and life preparation focus. we're doing really good things in students' lives, and we also build awesome robots. But that's not the goal.
How many students are involved in it?
I think numbers have fluctuated year over year, but this year we have a varsity and a JV team. The varsity team, I think, is around 15, and the JV team is maybe a little smaller than that. It's, I think, about 12.
Yeah. So, Ethan, let me ask, the materials that go into building some of these robots, they're not cheap. How do you fund the robotics, motors, the servos, materials, and all of that?
So we're a big grant writing team. This year, we're going to come in somewhere around $70,000 to $80,000 that we have written in grants. The way that our robot sits right now at this second, it's worth probably about $10,000 in materials and motors and electronics and parts. And that's not even the smallest expense. We have spare parts enough to build a second robot with us that we take to every competition. And then some of our entry fees on top of that, we pay $6,000 a year to enter into our competitions. I just paid another $4,000 to get us into the state tournament because we qualified last Saturday. And if we qualify for Worlds, that would be another $6,000 after that. And that's just the varsity team. Last year, the JV team also qualified for the state meet. So you'd have their $6,000 a year in entry fee, another $4,000 for states. To run this program the way that it needs to be run, we're looking at a probably about $100,000 budget per year.
Wow, that's pretty extensive. How do you transport these machines? These aren't, desktops.
No, we have a trailer that we take with us, a full-size 16-foot trailer. And not only do we transport our robots, but we have to transport all of our tools and our pit to each competition for when it breaks. In between matches, we can go to town and we can fix it. So we have a full 10-foot by 10-foot shop that we transport with us everywhere we go. So we don't just take the machine with us. We take everything that we need to replace parts on the machine, and we take everything that we need with us to repair the machine as well. And it's pretty rare that we play a match that we don't have to fix something when we come back. It's pretty rough and tumble out there.
So, Justin, the robotics part of it, it's outside the typical budget for Essexville-Hampton, right?
That is correct. And I think it was a program that I inherited, and Mr. Shannon has worked tirelessly to find additional funding sources to be able to help pull this off.
Now, let's talk about the STEM Center. What do you anticipate will be in the STEM Center? What are we talking about when we say STEM Center?
Yeah, so I think Mr. Shannon may be the best to be able to speak about that. I had my first experience to be able to see a STEM center. I've been in education my entire career across a couple of different states in the District of Columbia. And I'll be honest, the first time I've ever seen such a place was when I came to Michigan. And I think it's something that Michigan and the area should be incredibly proud of. Because this is, again, something that's happening everywhere. And Mr. Shannon can speak to, if that's okay, a bit more about what the actual looks of the STEM Center. But I was truly blown away after my first walk into that building back in, I think, September.
So what we need to have in that building is we need a machine shop that is at least the size that we have right now. I would actually like it to be twice the size because that would give us the ability to grow and add more things for the kids. We would need a lab for 3D printing and for our CAD classroom. We need another room for our elementary and our junior high to be able to compete away from the high school. And we would need a full-size practice field that, again, is about the size of a basketball floor. Right now, with our materials that we have, we're spread across 8 different classrooms in the district. And our practice field is the library, where every day we spend an hour clearing out furniture and then putting the furniture back at the end of the day. I've often equated this to if a varsity basketball team had to practice in the library and clear out all the furniture, set up movable hoops, and then put everything back the way they found it when they finished. Your basketball team probably isn't going to be very successful or draw the right kind of kids to it. Having a STEM center is a source of pride where kids want to be part of something special. It shows that it is something special. And again, the big difference between us and sports teams, to my knowledge, in the 60-year history of Garber High School, we have never once produced a professional basketball player. But in the last 10 years, every single kid that has gone through my program has become a professional engineer or business person. And that's really the difference between the two is every one of our kids that we produce, they're going to go pro in what we're training them to do.
So let me ask about this center, because, you know, I have this concept of a building that may be regional. Will others be able to use this facility? Because after all, robotics is competitive and you don't want to give away your secrets. So how does the center work? How does it function?
So we would very much like other teams to be there. First operates on something called cooperation, and it's a little bit different than what we have in other sports. We know that if we're going to be good, really good, like some of the other areas in the States, we're going to have to drag all the other schools with us in the area. The only way that you can be really good is competing against other really, really good teams. We want those schools to come here in Bay County. We want to be the hub and the center for that. And we think that if we have a lot of kids and a lot of mentors and a lot of resources and materials all in the same place, that every one of our schools is going to be able to grow and benefit from that outcome.
Is it possible to realize funding from these other schools that come in and use the facility then?
Yeah, I can answer that. I think we have been very sensitive to that topic. And again, I think schools are trying to do everything they can with the resources that they have. I think our idea and our vision is to really work alongside our elected leaders and our business community to be able to have less of a burden on surrounding areas. I think this also just perfectly aligns, as I have very quickly learned from my interview process until I was able to be fortunate enough to come here, is that Essexville-Hampton Public Schools is known as a center of academic excellence. And I think that this is just sort of a capstone that is sort of helps us be able to continue that work of academic excellence, and then also invite other students to be able to share in that experience. Again, I think our students will do better and fare better when they are able to interact and work alongside students within the area.
Yeah, let me ask, Brian, has the course of study at Garber High School changed over the years now? I mean, do you see a greater interest in the STEM subjects?
Yeah, great question. It is always evolving. You know, one of the ways our course offerings evolve is by having ongoing conversations with, like Mr. Ralston's connection to the Chamber of Commerce and trying to understand what are the needs of the community, ongoing conversations with colleges and universities about what sort of young people they want to see passing through their doors and making sure our students are ready for that. We have increased offerings in terms of AP mathematics and computer science. We have modified. We also have a very robust industrial arts program, and there's a very good connection, obviously, with STEM education and industrial arts. And one of the things we've been very successful we have very good staff in that industrial arts department. We've been able to sort of shift the course design for some of those traditionally industrial arts programs to include more computers, to include more programming, because realistically that's the nature of their field now, right? Woodworking and metalworking and machining and those sort of things, that it's not all handwork anymore. There's so much computers involved in those careers, and we've adjusted our course offerings to fit that. And so as I spoke earlier about helping students see the way those things interconnect, we do that every day with our coursework as well.
Yeah. So Emma, what's your future? You said you didn't know what you were going to do or what you wanted to do when you found robotics. What have you found, and what do you want to do when you graduate?
So I plan on going into photography and starting my own business. Right away, you wouldn't think photography would have a big thing in first, but it's a little bit more than that too. I do graphic design and presentation as well. I write a lot of essays. So because I joined this team, I have found that I love to take pictures and talk to people and write essays and present and advocate for women in STEM specifically, because I've noticed that, there's not a lot of girls on our team. We have 4 right now out of the 15 on our team.
Yeah, but I would suggest that today is 4 more than you would have had maybe 8 or 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Because it has become more of a field for women. There are more women engineers, scientists. It's a growing field for women, isn't it?
So Emma's actually one of the most important kids on our team, even though she doesn't necessarily pick up tools and work on the robot. She's responsible for communicating with our sponsors, for soliciting dollars to get our program going. She lets people in the community know how we're doing. It's not unusual for us to get checks in the mail that say, saw your post on Instagram, saw your post on Facebook, really proud of what you guys are doing. Here's something that I hope can help. That's important to us, and for our sponsors to be able to look and see what we're doing at the click of a button and know that their resources are being well spent. You can't buy that. It's the most important thing that we do outside of our competition season and outside of us trying to help our community.
All right, Justin or Ethan, either one of you on this. If somebody wanted to donate and help out, where could they get more information and how can they go about doing it?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. We have actually set up a separate bank account within our school system, and we have a special receipting system that we've already established so that people can contact the Jaffe administration building and be able to submit their donations or to be able to ask any questions. And again, we do have a dedicated account along with the receipting system that we've been able to create to ensure that there'll be transparency in what donations look like, and there'll also be accountability for maintaining those funds as it relates to the STEM Center. And then if people are interested in making a donation to the robotics program, I'll let Mr. Shannon talk about that process.
So any kind of donation that we get goes directly to the kids. There is no administrative fees. There is no service fees. All funds go directly to the kids. In fact, every year my paycheck, when I get it, which is relatively small, I invest it right back into the lab with new equipment as well. We really want to be kid focused and student focused here. And that starts from the top all the way down. Pretty much everybody that works with the kids here is a volunteer as a result. So all they would need to do is send that check or money order courtesy of Garber Robotics to our school district board office. That's 303 Pine Street in Essexville. And we can even get tax exempt status and receipts to people that want them as well for donations.
Very good. Well, Emma, in your career in photography, I just want you to know something. You're not alone. It's a great hobby and it's a great career. Listen, Justin, Ethan, Emma, and Brian, thank you very much for being with us. And let's do a follow-up down the road and see how well you guys do in competition. And keep in touch on the STEM Center. And Justin, welcome to the neighborhood, as they say.
Thank you, and again, thank you for having us and to be able to share this important story.
And we'll do it again. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there it is. It is really wonderful because the news is full of negatives day in and day out, and here we have these youngsters and their mentors and the staff and the executives. All pushing in the same direction to provide them careers, meaningful careers in STEM, in Saginaw technology, engineering, and math. And I was particularly interested in the industrial arts connection because industrial arts today requires STEM education. It's mandatory because of math and all of the other things that go into it. So great program. We'll keep in touch with them and see how well they do. We will take a break, come back, and we'll have open phones for you for the remainder of the program right up through 11 o'clock.
By choosing Garber for you. Supporting great organizations like the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Great Lakes Bay region. And it won't cost you a penny more because of Garber's low price guarantee. Mitzi Zanotti Brown, Club Marketing Director. Is this support making things better for the club's kids?
It is better already. Our kids are good kids. They're creative, they're smart, and they're hurting like us. They're exposed to more pain than I ever was, or my kids, right? But they are better being in the club with us. Our future is very bright. People who think it's not, they're not looking hard enough because it is. Absolutely.
Mitzi, when the kids leave the club to go home, have they learned things that will make things better at home too?
I think our kids can teach their caregivers and their parents. Can't we have dinner at the table together? I know how to cook, Mom. Look, I brought this basket of food. at the club, we made baked chicken, on a salad, and I have all the ingredients. You just got to help me with the stove. I can make dinner. The shift changes, and it's the kids teach the adults.
You have a choice. Choose better. Choose Garber.
Everybody knows you'll do better at Garber.
We now call to order the meeting of extraordinary heroes. Thunderfoot, here. Mega Maiden.
Let's go.
Wheat Farmer.
Yeah. What am I doing here?
You defeated Evil Dawn and saved your crop quality.
Well, yeah. I used Sphere X fungicide on my wheat and barley.
Keep your secrets, man.
No secret, just best-in-class dawn reductions.
Hero indeed.
Be a hero with Sphere X fungicide from BASF.
Always read and follow label directions.
Mark your calendars for Our Kids World, Saturday, April 8th at the Fashion Square Mall from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Sponsored by Francis Ray Academy and powered by Sarah Automotive. Free admission, Easter egg hunt, pictures with the Easter Bunny brought to you by the Exchange Clubs of Saginaw, and so much more. Plus, bounce out that energy in the kids zone with bounce houses provided by Bouncing Bellas. If your business would like to be involved, call 989-752-3456. Our Kids World, Saturday, April 8th, 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. at Fashion Square Mall. Sponsored by Francis Ray Academy.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
RocketGrabPlus.com is for the Frankenmuth Aerial Park. You're going to get half off of an adventure at the Frankenmuth Aerial Park. It's usually $43, but you are getting it for just $21.50. Fly through the air, swing through the trees, and challenge yourself on the aerial obstacle course. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, there is a course level for you. Head over to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your deal.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to three: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Detroit area attorneys. Offices in Troy and Ann Arbor. CordellCordell.com.
Max Ralston is scratching and losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to chicken. Another vet said he's the drain. Third vet says it's the weather. Then somebody said DINOVITE.com. It took 2 weeks, and the dog stopped itching. The hair stopped falling out. The Dinovite is a big problem.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you working way too hard for way too little? There's never been a better time to consider a career in IT. You can enjoy a recession-resistant career in a rewarding field with plenty of growth opportunities and often flexible work environments. Go to My Computer Career and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new career in months, not years. Take classes online or on campus, and financial aid is available to qualified students, including the GI Bill. Now is the time. mycomputercareer.edu.
On the next Barkley Van Camp and Robin show, Russian.
What do you call a gassy Russian?
Vladimir Putin.
Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Weekdays at noon on 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSGW. Broadcasting from the premier kitchen and bath gallery showroom and design center studios. This is WSGW.
And we are back with you here on the Art Lewis Show for this Wednesday morning. This is an interesting day for the Fed because they have a decision to make, and it's been described by many as a nail biter this time around. I mean, in the past, we knew what they were going to do. Maybe we didn't know how much, but we knew they were going to raise rates because of inflation. And we saw 0.75 rates. We saw 0.5 increases. And some would say, look what it led to. It did not help inflation very much and instead caused a banking crisis. So today, the Feds are now faced with a decision because it's decision day again. By the end of the day today, they will decide what will happen to the prime rate. Will it go up? And if it does, by how much? It's not an easy decision for them because they're faced with two options, neither of which blend with each other. The first option, of course, is to continue to attempt to control inflation, and they do that with rate increases. There was speculation before the banking crisis out in the Silicon area that we would see an increase again, that it might go up to 0.75 increase again. But the failure of the Silicon Valley Bank and others who are in jeopardy has thrown a monkey wrench into the process now. The Fed has to decide, do they continue to go after inflation, or do they pause in their rate increases to allow the banking industry some breathing room? Because it is thought that if they raise rates again, talk was they were going to do a smaller rate increase at 0.25. But now, again, the conversation has gone to a bigger increase because inflation hasn't come down the way they've wanted it to. It's come down a little, but not a lot. If they raise it by, 0.5 or 0.75, that's going to throw, a monkey wrench into the banking industry where we may see more bank failures. So that's what they're weighed with. How do they go after inflation at the same time protecting the banking industry? And then on top of that, consider that many economists think we are headed one way or another into a recession. And certainly, if they continue to raise the rate, the prime rate, it will eventually cause just that. There's a very fine line about how far they can go before they dump the economy, which is in effect what would happen. I mean, they would just literally put the economy in a tailspin. It's not going to be an easy decision for them today. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, if they do anything. They may say, let's take a breather and do nothing and get a handle on the banking system. There has not been great oversight by the Fed on the banking industry, and we see the results. And now on top of that, we have the administration saying, oh, well, nobody's going to lose any money at all. And it's another one of those, let's see how much more money we can spend. Here is the reality. When you go to a bank and you put your money in that is insured by the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, you are told there is a limit, $250,000. If, let's say, you're a very wealthy person, and let's say you have just pick a number, you have $1 million, and you put all $1 million into one depository, one financial institution, and that institution goes belly up, theoretically, you will have lost $750,000 of your million because you're only insured for $250,000. And it's always been suggested if you have that kind of money, you put it in separate institutions, $250 here, $250 there, $250 in another place, so that your money is protected. To say nothing of the interest it may accrue, because you're going to lose that, period. Well, along comes the administration and says, oh, well, nobody's going to lose any money at all. To me, this is not a good message. And I understand why they're doing it. I understand the turmoil that would be caused if companies and all these folks lost big, big, big dollars. But what are we telling people today? Oh, let's see your student loans. Oh, we'll try and forgive those for you. Don't worry about it. Take out as much as you want. We'll forgive it. Oh, you got big credit card debt. Listen to all the commercials for the companies that'll get rid of your credit card debt. You owe taxes to Uncle Sam. Oh, they got a program. Don't worry, we'll get rid of that. You deposited more than $250,000 in the bank. Oh, don't worry, we'll cover it. Whatever happened to responsibility? Just a thought. All right. Lines open for you, 989-752-6111, toll free, 866-790 WSGW.
M&R Garage Door wants to invite everyone who missed them at the Saginaw Home and Garden Show to stop by their showroom to see what's new with garage doors. M&R wants to remind you that home experts agree that replacing your old garage door with an M&R door can instantly transform the look and curb appeal of your home more than any other exterior improvement. M&R can professionally install your garage door and opener. M&R has trained staff warranty their work. Call 894-0971. M&R Garage Door. Service is their specialty.
We're proud to make Pioneer Sugar for you and your family. Proud to be found in your kitchen, the heart of your home. And it doesn't really matter what you make with Pioneer sugar, whether it's with our granulated white, light brown, or soft confectioners. It's the memories you'll make using it that will matter the most. Pioneer sugar, pure and all natural, made from sugar beets grown right here. What could be sweeter than that?
With the Wholesale Formula Seminar, discover how Amazon Business.
This is Nick Chouquette. I lost a lot of money on a failed landscaping business and had to move in with my dad. After attending the Wholesale Formula Seminar, I went from having no job to $1 million in revenue on Amazon just 2 years later.
Hi, Ian Bauer. My first year averaged $45,000 a month in sales. Now I'm at $90,000 a month and hardly working.
Whether you have a business and want to sell more on Amazon, retired, or just need extra money, America's Amazon expert Dylan Frost will show you how for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. That's right. Frost's seminar attendees generated over 1,000 millions in sales on Amazon. Attend Dylan Frost's The Wholesale Formula 2-hour seminar Tuesday, March 28th at 2 p.m. For the greater Saginaw area, register at thewholesaleformula.com.
It could be the best years of your life. In retirement, you'll finally get to do what you want to do, but you have to plan for it. Start by tuning into Mindy and Nolan McIntosh of McIntosh & Associates every Sunday at noon for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Make retirement the best time of your life. Tune in Sundays at noon for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Firm offers insurance services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Maxwell, he was scratching and losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to chicken. Another vet said he's the drain. Third vet said it's the weather. Then somebody said DINOVITE.com. It took 2 weeks, and the dog stopped itching. The hair stopped falling out. The Dinovite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com. Moments like hearing my cat purr good morning mean a lot. Diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs. Or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
The WSGW Morning Team. WSGW Online Poll is Detroit Tigers Baseball 2023 predictions for the 56th year. WSGW, your home for the Tigers. Last year, disappointing. Key regulars falling short of expectations, numerous injuries. Heading into this season, some signings of new players, but no big free agent signings. Tigers are counting on players to perform, to stay healthy, and who knows, maybe Miguel Cabrera and it sparks the team. Poll question for you. How do you predict the Tigers will finish 2023? Will the Tigers finish below 500, 500 or better, but not make the playoffs? Or will the Tigers make the playoffs? 3 options for you. Choose the one that fits your prediction, please. Tigers baseball all season long on WSGW. Head to the online poll box by going to WSGW.com and scrolling down the homepage and vote that way.
Do you know how you will vote?
I'm an optimist, but I need a couple more days.
Okay.
Your morning team, Charlie, Denise, and Pat, 5:30 to 9 on WSGW.
All right, back with you. Let's head to the phones here. We got Randy in Midland with us. Randy, good morning.
Morning, Art.
Morning.
The bridge crossing, I'm from Midland, and I go to Bay City quite a bit. Are all the bridges going to have a toll on them now?
No.
So we can't get to, okay.
Only the northern 2 bridges, the Liberty and the Independence, will eventually, because they've delayed it now, they will eventually have tolls. The other two bridges, the Veterans and the Lafayette Bridge, are state bridges, and they do not carry tolls.
Well, good, because I didn't know. I was just curious, and I didn't want to get backed up in that mess there. So that's what really.
Well, it's going to be. Listen. I asked the city manager Dana Muscott about this a while back. Is she afraid that people will just use the other bridges and not use the toll bridges? And they had done some studies and looked at other areas where there had been bridge partnerships like this. And what the studies told them was they'd lose about 10% of the traffic to the other alternatives, and people will eventually get used to just paying the tolls. Okay. I don't live there, and I don't have to use those bridges, and I'm glad. But
that could probably affect the downtown, won't it? As far as people coming in and spending money.
No, because the Veterans Bridge dumps right off in downtown, and that's the one that's primarily used. Listen, the city was faced with a challenge. They couldn't afford to maintain the bridges, couldn't afford to operate the bridges. They had to do something. And the only way you're going to get it done is either through some kind of big federal grant that, comes out of our pocket anyway, or you're going to have a partnership where there's going to be tolls. And that's the route they chose. Time will tell whether they were right or not. And we'll see what happens after the tolls go into effect. And I have to tell you, from what I understand, there's been a pretty big demand on transponders. So the people that live in Bay City, have certainly done their part to get their transponders. The other thing, too, is if you, like I have an Easy Pass, which I use on the highways that take me to Pennsylvania and Chicago and all those places. If you have an Easy Pass, it will work on those bridges because it's basically the same system. So people that have Easy Passes can use it, and I'm assuming because you would have a transponder, you'd have the lower toll, which would be something like $2. I don't use those bridges very often, mainly just because I don't travel those roads that often. When I go into Bay City, it's normally on the Vets or the Lafayette Bridge. But if I have to use those bridges because it, provided me with a convenience, I would do it, but not often. I'm glad. Let's put it this way: I'm glad I don't live there that I have to use them.
So if I try to cross those bridges,
you'll get a toll. I've got to take a break here because I'm out of time. I'll talk more about it next hour. Keep listening. All right. Let me take just a second here to tell you about my friends at McDonald Ford, a great family. And the Ford dealership is at M47 in Freeland, but they're more than a Ford dealership because they have an extensive pre-owned lot. You'll find Chevys, you'll find Cadillacs, Jeeps, Lincolns, and best of all, you'll find great people behind it. They've done a 100-point inspection on those vehicles, so you can drive with confidence. If you have a problem, they have an extensive service department for minor and major repairs, all waiting for you at McDonald Ford. Drive Collision Center, Quick Lane Center, it's all there. Best of all, what's there are great people. And that's what it takes. If you want to deal with people that you can trust and can take care of you, McDonald Ford is the place to go. M47 in Freeland.
Iridiation's goal really is to maximize the health of every plant. Mike, let's start with you. Talk to me a little bit about how this relates to sustainable agriculture.
It's really about making sure that plant is in its optimum form. And then once you can master one plant, then it's about going to thousands of plants per acre, to millions of plants per field, and really, managing the situation and giving the plant a good day every day.
Brady, when we talk about plant health, can we talk a little bit about how it relates to those three pillars of sustainability, thinking about environmental health and economic social equity?
We really do feel it is that next frontier of plant health and yield that allows farmers to be thinking about their near-term seasonal profitability, but also how what they're applying is going to affect their operations long-term. We make products and we're promoting products that have positive effects on soil health year over year.
To learn more about Verdesian's NUE goals for new ag, go to VLSCI.com.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW-FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Paul Gauguin Cruises.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The Fed is expected to announce a decision today on another interest rate hike. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe says it could have a big impact on home sales.
Allison Goodhart DeShuttle runs a real estate company with her mom, Sue, in Northern Virginia. Cool in the past year. As rates climbed, she says buyers began getting priced out, and sellers decided to stay put.
Year over year, our market in the DC area is down about 20% in terms of closed sales.
Nationwide, existing home sales are still down more than 22% from last year.
The Fed is expected to raise interest rates another 0.25 percentage point amid the crisis in the banking industry. Former President Trump is still hunkered down with advisors at Mar-a-Lago, just waiting for word on an indictment for alleged falsification of business records tied to hush money paid to Stormy Daniels. CBS's Robert Costa.
If an indictment is issued, law enforcement sources say Trump would likely travel to New York, where he would surrender to authorities, be fingerprinted, photographed, and arraigned before a judge.
The cleanup is underway after a deadly bomb cyclone storm slammed into the central California coast. Trees and power lines litter the roads, and drivers were killed when their cars were hit by falling trees. More than 100,000 customers have no power there right now. We've learned TikTok CEO will defend the app before lawmakers on Capitol Hill tomorrow. Correspondent Cammie McCormick.
It will be his first appearance before Congress. TikTok CEO Xiaoji Chu will highlight his company's efforts to improve security and data privacy. The vast majority of users, he will tell lawmakers, are over 18. He will testify that many of the company's security measures are first for the industry, including banning direct messages to anyone under 16 and limiting the watch time for those under 18.
The Supreme Court takes up the case of Bad Spaniels today. It's a dog toy that parodies a whiskey bottle. CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum on the question before the High Court.
Does the toy confuse Jack Daniel's brand, or does everyone realize that it is a parody and therefore protected under the First Amendment?
Officials in Newport News, Virginia, say 2 inmates who dug their way out of jail using a toothbrush to make a hole in the wall were recaptured hours later up at an IHOP nearby. Police Chief Steve Drew.
By the grace of God, I'm glad no one was injured and that we were able to locate and get them back in custody.
Jail officials blame weak construction design for the breakout. The Dow is down 26 points. This is CBS News.
CBS News is brought to you by Paul Gauguin Cruises. Artfully authentic, all-inclusive year-round cruising to Tahiti and the South Pacific. Visit pgcruises.com today.
Eric was way behind.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It's been tough talking to my doctor about constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. I finally laid all my symptoms out there and how they keep coming back. She said I may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. We agreed it's time to try something different.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movement. Leave overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Visit a doctor in person or online. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by AbbVie and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
Cloudy skies and 41 degrees at 10:05. Good morning. I'm Mike Kirchup. A man from Saginaw has pleaded guilty to fleeing from police and possession of drugs in Midland. The Midland Daily News reports 27-year-old Jalen Jackson stood before Midland County Circuit Court Judge Stephen Karras last Thursday and admitted to fleeing and eluding police, plus 2 counts of drug possession with intent to deliver. The charges come from an incident June 27th when the police tried to stop a house on Bay City Road. Authorities say they found drugs in Jackson's vehicle and in the house he was leaving. The sentencing has been scheduled for June 8th. The Bay County Board of Commissioners voted last night 4-3 to close the Bay County Community Center pool for good. The board listed several concerns with the pool, including maintenance, safety, staffing, and financial costs. The pool has been in need of repairs or replacement, which the commission says would cost around $2 million to fix and between $5 and $6 million to replace. The pool was closed all last summer due to a shortage of lifeguards. Commissioners say there's also been low usage the last 12 years and have been dealing with mechanical and structural challenges due to the pool's age. Residents at the board meeting spoke in favor of keeping the pool open, calling it a boon for the community. Michigan DNR will hold a turkey hunting workshop for women and girls on May 13th in Cass City. Called Beyond Bow, the workshop is designed to help women and girls learn new skills or improve their abilities. Participants will be taught proper safety hunting and techniques, and no previous experience is required. It's free and open to any woman who have a Michigan-based hunting license and a turkey hunting license who are at least 10 years old. Enrollment serve with 14 spots available. The deadline is May 1st. For more information, call 517-582-3854. WSGW News Time 10:07.
For extraordinary care in the Great Lakes Bay region, you know just where to go.
Oh yeah, Covenant Healthcare.
But when you need to decide whether to go to emergency, urgent care, or your primary care provider,
Well, let me get back to you on that.
here's how to get the right care in the right place at Covenant. See your primary care doctor for ongoing non-urgent complaints like joint or muscle pain, digestive issues, mild headaches. If it's after your doctor's office hours and your care can't wait, come to a MedExpress urgent care location. It's the perfect choice for ear infections, respiratory illness, sprains, stomach aches, and so on. Virtual urgent care and doctor visits are also available. Finally, call 911 or go directly to emergency if you have heart attack or stroke symptoms or any severe injury. Still not sure? Call Covenant Care Connect at 989-583-3135 and we'll help you decide. Covenant Healthcare.
WSGW News Time 10:08. The weather forecast is coming up. Woman is headed to prison following her conviction for stealing more than $300,000 in unemployment insurance benefits. 52-year-old April Rienstra also has been ordered to pay more than $318,000 in restitution. U.S. officials say Rienstra pleaded guilty November 2022 to 1 count of wire fraud arising from a scheme to defraud the Michigan Unemployment Insurance Agency by filing multiple fraudulent unemployment insurance claims she was not entitled to. Court documents show between April 2020 and May 2021, Rienstra defrauded the Unemployment Insurance Agency by submitting false applications for pandemic unemployment benefits on behalf of. The Federal Reserve is wrapping up a 2-day meeting today, deciding if it should cost us more to borrow money. Business editor Murray Feldman has this.
Economists have been mixed on whether the cost of borrowing will go up 1/4 percentage point or 1/2 percentage point in an effort to slow our spending as the Federal Reserve tries to hold down inflation. Over the past week and a half, there's been a growing feeling that there will be no rate hike at all in order to take pressure off the banking industry in the wake of bank failures in California. More important, though, than what happens with interest rates today could be what the Federal Reserve has to say about future rate hikes. Perhaps we'll get some insight into how high those rate hikes might be. The announcement comes at 2 p.m. today. I'm Murray Feldman, the Michigan News Network.
It's Severe Weather Awareness Week, and today is the statewide tornado drill. At 1 p.m., outdoor sirens will be tested. TV and radio stations, including WSGW, will be airing a test message. However, don't be alarmed if you don't hear a test message in your local community, as not every area participates. Michigan averages 15 tornadoes a year, which is why state officials want you to be prepared. WSGW News Time 1010, I'm Mike Percha.
Here's your WSGW weatherology. We'll see cloudy skies here for today with a high into the upper 40s. Winds out of the south around 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. Tonight, a chance for rain showers here with cloudy skies and temperatures holding rather steady. Thursday, chance for rain, cloudy skies, temperatures holding steady in the mid-40s. Then by Friday, partial sunshine develops and a high around 44. Saturday, a chance for rain, cloudy skies, a high around 45 degrees. Then by Sunday, mostly sunny and a high around 48. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with the WSGW weatherology forecast. Currently, it's 43.
Now, the only local radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions. From around your block to around the world, The Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com.
The Art Lewis Show is presented by Westside Decorating Center.
Yes, indeed. Westside Decorating Center, located at 5789 State Street in Saginaw. They have a newly expanded showroom and new products, including countertops. Everything needed for home decorating you will find at Westside Decorating Center. And one day in the very near future, we'll have Mike Stoddard on to talk about paint, wallpaper, and all of those things at Westside Decorating Center. We'll have him on a Friday. This hour is open phones, whatever you'd like to talk about. The number is 989-752-6111. That's the number to call and join in the conversation here on WSGW, as we do every day, and enjoy doing it with you. So today, a couple of things happening, a couple of watches today. We're watching, as I mentioned earlier, for the Fed to make their announcement as to whether or not there'll be a rate increase and how much. It is also the day we are watching to see, again, if former President Donald Trump is indicted by the New York grand jury and the New York prosecutor. It is possible. I don't know that it's probable, but I think it's possible that they won't indict him. Not likely, but it's possible. You have to remember how many people of various federal and state organizations have looked at this case and walked away from it up until now. So we will see. And then we'll have to see how he's treated. It will be different than you or me being arrested for something in our lives. If we're arrested, we're going to be put in handcuffs, taken away. We're going to be mugshot. We're going to be what they call the perp walk. You will not see that with the president, former president of the United States. The Secret Service will take charge. They will make sure he's where he has to be when he has to be there. He's not going to spend time in a holding cell. He's not going to spend time at Rikers Island. He's not going to do any of that. And some would say, well, wait, now it says nobody's above the law. They ought to make him to do all of that. Well, whether you like him or you don't like him, it doesn't matter. He is the former president of the United States, and there are certain rules and guidelines that are followed for former presidents, including their security and protection. It's this is my view of this. And as I've said many times, when I voted for Trump, I voted for him for his policies, not for who he is, because I don't have any respect for the man in terms of his personality and his business dealings. But his policies for the United States, I was in favor of. And that's how I choose who I vote for. Or do I think they're going to do the proper thing for this country as I see it? Don't we all vote that way? Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you vote those people in that you think will do the best job for the country from your viewpoint, as you see it and as you would like to see it happen. But I don't have any use for him. Do I think that he's, fudged a little here and there on his taxes and stuff like that? Yeah, probably. And should he be held accountable for it? Yeah, in some fashion, yes. Are you going to perp walk him down the middle of the street in handcuffs? That's not going to happen. I know there are a lot of people who'd like to see it happen, but it isn't going to happen. You are not going to see that. So we all watched today. He thought it would be yesterday. He was wrong. Could be today. The grand jury is still in session till this afternoon. We'll see what happens. Could be this grand jury hears this testimony and doesn't believe the witnesses. You don't know. I don't know. Time will tell. Paul is in Saginaw, so that's where we go first this hour. Paul, good morning.
Morning, Art.
Morning.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, I want to talk about two issues that you've previously talked about earlier. And I want to talk about the root causes of some of these problems. Okay?
What are the problems?
Causes. Well, let's take banking for the start. Back in the 1970s, when I worked as a commercial loan officer and a consumer loan officer, banks were required to have less than 10% of their deposits on hand for withdrawals. And in some cases, the percentage was even lower than that, sometimes 1% and 2%. Caused big problems in emergency, because the other 90% of those deposits were invested in Wall Street and loans. So that's a one root cause of a problem right there. Now, let's go to the other issue. The other issue you were talking about STEM.
Wait. No. Wait. One issue at a time.
All right.
One issue at a time.
All right.
You've brought up some interesting points about the banking industry. There are a number of things at work here. The Fed raising interest rates, obviously. But let's also not discount the fact that the banks that fail typically don't have good people running them.
That's true.
If you look at many of the bank failures and how they failed, it's a combination of things. It's not just one thing.
Right.
But usually you can trace it back to people who made very bad decisions.
Right.
So let's not just gloss over that. I think it's an important point.
Right. Okay. Issue number two. You were talking about
STEM education.
Yeah. Now, back when I was in high school, I took science, math, and some STEM subjects. And that's when the textbooks were written simple, easy, straightforward. You could grasp the concepts and you could understand it and get good grades. But as soon as you went to college, not so much the community college, but the four-year university, the textbooks were written complicated, confusing, difficult to understand, and many students dropped out.
Well, okay.
And that even included business subjects like accounting.
I'm going to give you the other side of that.
Four-year university.
No, I'm going to give you the other side of that coin.
All right.
Yeah, it's okay in high school to have those books that led you down the path in a relatively easy fashion, so you got a foundation, because that's what high school provides. It provides the foundational learning that prepares you to go on to either college or an industrial career, one way or another. When I went to college and I went for engineering, if I didn't have the complicated books, I wouldn't have learned the subject, because the complication is what the subject was all about. Engineering is not simple. You can't write simple textbooks on how to be an engineer.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
No, you
Yes,
can't.
You can.
Not and have a qualified
disagree with
engineer. Not and have
I
a
disagree
qualified.
with
Well, okay, fine. But not in my world. In my world, if you want to learn the subject, you have to learn to navigate some of that complication. That's
Art,
part
if
of
you
learning.
ask those students who dropped out of those STEM subject courses, you ask them what was the reason why you dropped out. What do you think they're going to tell you?
Either they didn't like the subject.
Too confusing.
Well, you know
and I
what?
couldn't understand it.
You know what? If engineering is too complicated and too confusing, you shouldn't be an engineer. You should have dropped out. It's not an easy field. I don't want half-baked engineers. I want people that can think on their feet and know what they're doing.
All right.
I don't want simplistic.
You don't want simplistic?
I do not want simplistic.
Where are you living?
I live in the real world, which isn't simple. Life isn't simple.
Well. Let me give you another example.
Problem is, we've made it too easy.
Let me give you another example.
Real quick.
I also took business subjects in college. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I went to the community college, the textbooks were written simple, easy to understand. You could grasp it. You could get good grades. But as soon as you went to the four-year university, particularly accounting, it was just the opposite. Complicated, confusing.
Yeah,
difficult.
they taught you the deep subject.
And there was no reason for it.
Yeah, there was.
No reason for it at all.
That's how you learned it.
Community college can write a simple, easy textbook. So can the
and you ended up with simple, easy knowledge, and you weren't. No, you ended up with a simple, easy knowledge, and you weren't yet a qualified accountant. When you went to college, no. Real quick, you got 10 seconds. You got 10 seconds.
The reason why they wrote it complicated and confusing is so that you have to pay a teacher in a school to explain it to you, so that
okay.
And the colleges get their money.
All right, Paul. Have a good one. Talk to you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Got to run. Take a break. We'll be back. Nothing in life is simple.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Tarek. Doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navage uses suction power, so it's foolproof. There are nights when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such a relief. It's become a lifesaver." Unquote. She's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage. Hi.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender by Norton is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks opened mixed and turned lower. The Federal Reserve releases its decision on interest rates. An update on the economy today. There are lingering concerns about regional banks. It has received $1.4 billion in cash from Atlas Partners after clients drew down an additional 20% of that bank's deposits. The Wall Street Journal says First Republic has hired 2 firms to give it advice, Lazard and McKinsey. First Republic is said to be looking into selling itself or shrinking the business. It might also receive government backing. Nike reported better than expected earnings, though Nike says it's costing more to do business and its sales fell in China in the recent quarter. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosolda, invested in you.
Best-selling author David Horowitz's final battle is out, and it reveals the secret war to stop Trump and DeSantis for 2024. Final Battle names the names of the secret players and warns of the end of America. President Trump says you must get this book. Final Battle is at bookstores, or see the free offer. Call 1-800-NEWSMAX, 800-NEWSMAX, or go to finalbattle611.com. Get it today.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
On the next Barkley Van Camp and Robbins show, you know what you call it, gassy Russian?
What do you call a gassy Russian?
Vladimir Putin.
Barkley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Weekdays at noon on 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSTW.
All right. Back with you on the Art Lewis Show. And back to our phones. Alan is in Saginaw Township. Alan, good morning.
Good morning, Art. I called on something totally different, but listening to Paul,
I wondered.
I have to say 4-year accounting grad of Michigan State and some grad school there as well, and a 50-year accountant and a member of the adjunct faculty teaching accounting at Delta College. Paul's all wet. I agree with you completely, and I was exasperated listening to him. I just have to put it that way.
Can you imagine if your books were simplistic? And my father, by the way, was a criminal tax lawyer and a CPA.
Right, I'm aware of that.
I mean, can you imagine if you had simplistic books? How much of accounting would you actually have learned? Simplistic accounting, which does nobody any good.
Yeah, this may not be a great analogy, but at the very start of the classes, we talk about bookkeeping versus accounting. And, when it's in 101 or 211 or whatever that was, you start off that way and you explain that difference. And some people, sure, they can do books, let's call it that. But what do you do with that information? And what are the laws and the software that cause you to be able to do what you do under the direction of somebody who says, just put this here, and keep this data.
Right. Listen, I appreciate the choir. You know that.
Yes, I know. But I just wanted to put that in since I listened to Paul and just think he's completely off track on that one.
Yeah.
What I called about was photography, as you and I were sharing.
Yes, indeed.
And in your gal this morning, that was interesting that student wants to be a photographer now, but going to that as a career, a partial part of their career. I don't know if you're familiar with DP Review. DP Review has been my go-to and the leading photography website as far as equipment and history of equipment and just all kinds of tech stuff for 25 years. And they're owned, as you probably know, by Amazon. They didn't used to be. I might have been Ziff Davis, I'm not sure, but Amazon bought them some years ago.
Yeah.
And as part of this entire layoff procedure, this huge layoff that they've got going over there at Amazon, they're laying off another 9,000 people, I believe it is. Amazon is shutting down DP Review, having let go all of their editorial staff. And I saw one article earlier gave a date of April 6th. This one I'm looking at right now doesn't give that date, but they say early April. So it's going away.
That's too bad.
It is. And right now, because it's a great information and assistance.
I got to tell you, I was a keystroke away the other day of buying a new camera body, but I decided not to. I mean, a keystroke, literally.
Yeah. Click.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that agony. But at any rate, DP, the real another sidebar to this is that there is no plan to archive their information.
Oh.
Everybody's going to lose everything, and you'll have no research ability, and any photographs that you to them for other people's viewing are going to go away too.
That's too bad.
the whole thing's just going to go dark.
Yeah.
So I thought you'd like to know that if you didn't already.
Can you retrieve any of that information and put it elsewhere?
Yes, you can, but you got to do it quickly.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Well, there's your chore for the day.
All right. Update you on that and had to chime in on Paul.
Good enough, Alan. Thanks.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye now. Let's continue on. Talk to Dale in Bay City. Dale, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Lewis. I would like to just make a brief comment, if I may.
Yep.
And that is 40 years as a projects designer in the Tri-City area. And as a contract designer, our job was to train new degreed engineers coming out of colleges in Michigan to work on projects. I'm not saying that they're not intelligent, but they learn by working and doing actual real life engineering on a project and see it done from start to finish.
Yep, I agree with you, Dale. I agree with you, Dale. But first they have to have background. First they have to have that education to make them an engineer to start with.
I do not dispute that. I'm saying that they don't have the experience to apply that to a project until they work on a project.
Absolutely.
And then apply it.
Absolutely. I fully agree.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not debating.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. 100%. The practicality of work and the practicality of actually applying your knowledge happens when you get out in the field.
Yes,
Colleges
sir.
and universities give you the education. They give you the nitty gritty. They give you the academic side of it. The practical side of it happens when you start putting that knowledge to work. And that's when you really learn how to do your job. That's true in a lot of industries.
And in all due respect to some of these folks that came out of university, I won't use any names, but I can tell you one individual that come out of with a mechanical engineering degree out of Western Michigan, and he was very intelligent, very nice. We worked on projects, and he went on to be a major manager at a big corporation in Midland. And I'm not going to say his name, but
Good.
He was one of the nicest gentlemen and young men that I
There you go.
It was a pleasure.
Good
and
deal.
He taught me some things too. He brushed me up on a lot of math and stuff like that.
Life is a learning experience.
I have to defend the fact that I'm not taking anything away from the fact that they have a 4-year degree, which I did never had, but I did have a lot of damage.
Yeah, you must have a lot of common sense too, though. That helps.
Well, and I enjoyed it. I just loved what I did.
Dale,
I thank you, sir, for taking my call.
I appreciate your conversation. Thank you, sir. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye now. And let's talk to Bill in Bay City. Bill, good morning.
How's it going, Art?
It's going
I just got a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, got you fine.
Okay. Yeah, the Federal Reserve and the rates, and they've been doing it, 8 times so far this year?
Yeah, something like
that. They
that.
want to tighten the money supply.
Right.
And at the same time, we have the banks, going under because they have a liquidity crisis, they say. And one thing that I can't understand, back in March of 2020, during the COVID, we have a fractional reserve banking system, right? If the Fed lowered the requirement for banks to 0% for fractional reserve, I mean, why don't they just, if they want to tighten the money supply, all they have to do is, bring back the reserve requirement for banks.
Yeah.
Because it kind of makes a joke out of our fractional reserve banking system. If they have 0%,
you've pointed out one of the severe problems in banking, and that is it's multifaceted. It's a combination of what the Fed does and what banking management does and the marketplace. And if you have poor management and poor policy, you end up with poor results.
But wouldn't you agree with me though?
I would.
We have fractional
Sure.
reserve.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
They
You
would
know,
raise it back to 10%. It used to be 20%.
yeah, I mean,
That the banks would have to have on hand.
That's
And
I
now
would not
when
disagree.
They lowered it to zero. They gave them that was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So add that to the list. I mean, it's just another. It's
one thing I can't understand is nobody has talked about that.
Well,
the
the problem is
raising the reserve requirement.
What the problem is it's a perfect storm. That's one piece of the puzzle, and all the other pieces fell apart. And then
well, my point being, they would not have to raise the interest rates. All they'd have to do is raise the reserve requirement for the banks, and that would tighten the money supply.
Well, but the interest rates, the interest rates are trying to force inflation down, and it's only worked to a small degree so far. It's a combination. It's not one thing that's going to solve it. It is not just simply one thing that's going to solve it. You look at all the things you have. You have the Fed policies. You have a federal government for decades has been out of control spending wise. We have a debt now that's ridiculous. $32 trillion, whatever it is. You have all of these factors. It's not just one factor. And until we get a handle on all of these factors, it's going to continue.
Yeah, and one thing that 31 trillion, 32 trillion. These politicians, I mean, if you take $1 trillion, just $1 trillion, and if you put it in $100 bills and stack them one on top of each other, it would make a pile 2.5 times higher than the International Space Station.
Yeah.
And that goes above the Earth at 220 miles. I mean, you'd have a stack of $100 bills over 400 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that great? And that's just $1 trillion.
Yep.
And here we are at 32. It's crazy.
Somebody's going to have to pay that bill.
I don't know.
It won't be you and I because we'll be long gone, but our kin down the road are all going to be digging deep. All right.
Yeah,
good enough.
Yeah, but maybe somebody will talk to the Fed and say, hey, guys,
good luck.
Raise the reserve requirement for banks.
And maybe they will after this.
With the liquidity problem.
Maybe they will. All right, Bill. Have a good one.
I doubt it. Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye now. And lines open for you. Give us a call.
This week's deal on RocketGrabPlus.com is for the Frankenmuth Aerial Park. You're going to get half off of an adventure at the Frankenmuth Aerial Park. It's usually $43, but you are getting it for just $21.50. Fly through the air, swing through the trees, and challenge yourself on the aerial obstacle course. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, there is a course level for you. Head over to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your deal.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose... that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Haley, quote, Navage is the best thing I've bought. I love it. My nose feels so clear now and I can breathe. I've been struggling with a stuffy nose for weeks. I bought Navage and it's amazing. Or this one. I use Navage every night, could not imagine life without it. I have 5 cats, and before I found Navage, I was a clogged mess. Now I breathe so much better, unquote. Those are 2 of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
It's been tough talking to my doctor about constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. I finally laid all my symptoms out back. She said I may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. We agreed it's time to try something different.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Visit a doctor in person or online. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by Happy and Ironwood Pharmaceutical.
I thought learning a language would be too much work. Then I discovered Babbel. They make learning fun. Jim.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes. Quick and easy. Turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
My friend from Italy said my accent and pronunciation is perfect. It's because Babbel's lessons are designed by language teachers and voiced by real native speakers. Each lesson is like living in another country for 15 minutes.
I love that there's all kinds of ways to learn. Babbel's podcast or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
You learn words and phrases you actually use in real conversations.
In 3 weeks, I was starting to speak in another language. So easy.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than Babbel.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
We expect our information in real time. US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide blood glucose levels. US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 800-730-8405 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check. As easy as, that's 800-730-8405.
This is the premier kitchen and bath gallery showroom and design center studios of WSGW.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW and back to our phones. Mike is in Midland. Mike, good morning to you.
Good morning, Art. How are you doing, sir?
We're doing well, thank you.
Wonderful. You had a rather heated conversation. I didn't hear about it. I hear all of it, and I was about education a minute ago.
Yep.
And I would like to submit that they're not teaching kids how to communicate. They're not teaching them how to read. Well, they're not teaching them English. I don't know what it is, but it's some sort of a pidgin language. And do they teach them how to use a dictionary so that they can get to the basic meanings of it?
No, not anymore. Because why? Because of computerization and smartphones. You can put two kids on a couch next to each other and they will text each other rather than talk to each other. That does not bode well for the future.
Yeah, and if they can't understand or speak well and be understood, how are they going to get anything except frustrated?
I don't know the answer to that, but you're right.
And I think the reason the NEA and government directors of what education is supposed to be want it that way so that easily.
Well, first of all, it's a big brush to paint all of education that way because there are a lot of school districts that do it very well and teach very well. But there are those that don't.
Well,
there are those that don't.
True.
And there are a lot of students now that they don't want to spend the effort to learn. They want to, I think they would like an injection that injects knowledge into their arms so they don't have to do anything to earn it.
I had some teachers that. Sorry.
No, that's all right. When I went to school, I had to work for my grades. They weren't handed out to me. You worked for them. If you took, if you wanted good grades, you had to do the work.
Yep. And we also were fortunate enough to have some teachers who really cared a lot about their profession and
there are
made the effort.
Yeah, but there are a lot of those today. I will tell you that. I know a lot of teachers.
I agree, but they haven't been taught anything except wokeism too.
Yeah, not all of them, but some of them, no doubt about it.
I didn't say all of them.
Well, I know that, but I have to point that out because we in conversations sometimes we paint a big brush, and we shouldn't. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just pointing out that there are a lot of very fine teachers out there, and there are a lot of teachers. There are a lot of fine teachers that are hobbled by their administrations and the dictates of their boards of education.
Right. Perfect.
There you go.
I was going to add into the conversation. So have a good one.
You
Appreciate
too.
it.
Hey, thanks for
Good
calling,
talking to
Mike.
you
I
again.
appreciate it. Bye-bye now. Yeah, listen, when it comes to education and teachers, I cannot be overly critical, mainly because I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't know how to do it, first of all, to do it properly. So I can't be overly critical of a profession of which I know very little, other than that I was a recipient of some very, very good teachers. And I still remember the names of the ones that stood out and why they stood out, how they taught, how they imparted on me knowledge when I might have been reluctant to get that knowledge. Because there are a lot of classes I took in high school that I didn't like, didn't want to take, but it was part of the curriculum. I had to. If my high school, I went to high school in New York City, and my high school, you had a choice of an academic diploma or a vocational diploma. The vocational diploma, translate that industrial arts. You learned mechanical skills. You learned how to weld, carpentry, all of those things. You learned mechanical drawing. You learned all of the things you'd need to go out in the world and do physical labor and jobs that were important. Or you chose an academic diploma, which prepared you for college. And that's the route I chose. And consequently, I didn't have a choice. I took a lot of classes I didn't want to take. But I knew that if I wanted to go to a good college, I needed to score well in those classes. I needed to get good grades. So it was on my shoulders to do it. But having a good teacher who made the subject interesting overcame a lot of the objections to taking the class. So teachers can make a huge, huge difference. Now, I have also said over many, many years, I think teachers got way too militant at some point in time. And I also have said that while teachers deserve a good living, throwing money at them does not seem to improve scores. I remember moving to Michigan in 1974, and I was told at the time that we had like the second highest paid teachers in the country, and we were 48th on the education list. They didn't go together. How can you do that? So, anyway, we'll take a break. Lines are open for you. Give us a buzz if you want to chat.
Welcome to retirement. Now, replace your paycheck. To local financial coach Kevin Ray, this is what retirement planning is all about.
Building monthly paychecks. And how you build those monthly paychecks is going to determine how well in retirement you're going to enjoy it. So sit down and build a good framework, and it starts with income.
So build your framework with Kevin and the team at Insight Folios today by calling 85-PLAN. That's 888-885-7526.
Paid for by government.com.
The 1878 to 1921 Morgan silver dollar, a true American classic and one of the most iconic silver dollar coins in history. It's been 100 years since the last Morgan silver dollar coin was struck for circulation. And now, for a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government struck Morgan dollars are being released to the public. That's right. You can own a full pound of 1878 to 1921 classic American Morgan silver dollar coins, all in very good collector condition with fully visible dates and mint marks, guaranteed. Call 1-800-895 to secure collector-grade U.S. Morgan silver dollars by the pound, struck during the Wild West and the Gilded Age. Plus, receive a bonus American Collector's Pack, valued at over $25, free with every order. Call 1-800-895-7267 now to secure your full pound bag of Morgan silver dollar coins before they are gone. 1-800-895-7267. That's 1-800-895-7267.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to three key concerns: physical custody, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Detroit area attorneys. Offices in Troy and Ann Arbor. CordellCordell.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100 and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
If you have certain chronic conditions, such as heart disease, and you're 19 years of age or older, 52,
36,
42, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection. Common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'm going to ask my doctor about getting vaccinated.
With Prevnar 20.
You have the chance to win a $1,000 gift certificate to a business of your choice. It's the WSGW Home Improvement Contest presented by the Saginaw Home Builders Association. Enter online at WSGW.com. When you enter, you choose the business you would use your $1,000 gift certificate if you're drawn as the winner. Businesses include Reamer Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning, Bay Landscaping, M&R Garage Door and Opener, Bath Gallery, Midlands Sand Company, The Tech Laboratory, All Seasons Heating and Cooling, Delta Door Sales, Maple Hill Nursery and Garden Center, Roof Max, Patriot Carpet Cleaning, Cranes L&M Appliance, Hartel Heating and Cooling, Westside Decorating Center, Big Ick Nursery and Garden Center, Mid-Michigan Garage Door, Bonifant Cabinetry, Woolfiles Ace Hardware. The Home Improvement Contest presented by the Saginaw Home Builders Association. Deadline to enter online at WSGW.com.
All right, we're back here on WSGW. Coming up on Focus after the news, we're going to focus on Rocket Grab Plus, tell you what's in the store for you to save lots of money on. We're talking about education. There was just a special education ruling in the U.S. Supreme Court that had to do with Michigan, Sturgis, Michigan, actually. And this had to do with special education. It's the story of a young man by the name of Miguel Perez. He was in the Sturgis Public School District here in Michigan at age 9. And he brought home A's and B's on report cards for more than a decade. However, the charges against the school district were that there were profound lapses in his education, and he was a youngster, by the way, with disabilities. I should mention that to you. And apparently they claimed that the district passed him on even when they shouldn't have, and that they misrepresented his qualifications of his aide that was supposed to be assisting the individual. The aide was assigned to other duties and left Perez unable to communicate with anyone for hours every day. Hearing was his problem, deaf. And so they schooled the district. There is something called IDEA, and this is a Individuals with Disability Education Act. It's called IDEA. And then there is the Americans with Disability Act, the ADA. In the first suit to the lower court that the parents made, the court said no because they had not exhausted the requirements of the IDEA process. And an appeals court upheld that. The Supreme Court, however, said that the parents could file under the ADA regardless of where they were with the IDEA process. and it's complicated law. It governs 7.2 million special education students. And experts now say that this will give parents more leverage in their negotiation with schools for students with a disability. So what this should do is make schools more responsible in how they treat these students. End result is Sturgis agreed to send this young man to Michigan School for death and all right, that's going to do it for today for this edition of the Show. As always, participation. Take a break and come back and close out. All right, that'll do it for today. We thank you. We'll head over to Focus, find out what's happening with Rock Plus. Before that, the news from CBS, the National International Report, the local report, updates
Yesterday of the week and what's ahead this morning on the West Coast. Former President Trump is indicted. Robert Costello in New York will take his constitutional grand jury investigating the Trump Henry Hudson's case of Rudy over on set. Sources tell CBS News that the Secret Service, FBI, and NYPD are working together to plan the possible disruption to the college and in the streets here in New York from protests again in Washington, D.C. The Homeland Security Department have issued a bulletin that the Senate screeners see a Trump arrest and potential arrest as a line in the sand. We'll hear from Federal Reserve Policy Chief Robert Ralston. Trump, how was lining GetRootFacts at GetRootFacts.com. Safe, proven, easy, affordable alternative to expensive medical. Where's your call back? After 955. Lewis, welcome to the Rocket Grab, Washington.com, online sales tools that allow you to save 50%. And there's no cost to join the shop. All you have to do is go to Rocket Grab, Washington.com. Sign up. It's free. Then enter notification. Time that it is used. And by the way, you don't have to why the deal? Download the middleman. How do you pick it up? So let's start. One of my favorites. Whether it's here, thanks to stereo smart, is half off the Metro thanks to stereo smart, one person, 2 hours separate. 4 speed up. set off a $25 gift certificate to Bell's Barkery and Yes. We'll take a break. We have a guest to talk to us. Joel Doug Temple is the line. Come back. This day and age, we ask you more for less, so we should think about life today. That's the truth. That's your message. Very backwards. Next time you need this, that's very nice. Call them at 989-75-3. Check them on the web. Monday through Friday, 989-75-3. Mandatory updated you by the All right, we're back with you on the Mark Lewis Show. And why we're done this morning. I want to offer you something. I want to offer you this Friday at 9 o'clock. Maybe not exercise, not now, what to do, but don't know what to do. Just one ahead. All right, Doug, we will be discussing Friday.